Greetings! Mandatory79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alright, let's get started. Pressing the A button now.
Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days.
Loading game and proceeding. And here we are in the main menu, going to edit deck menu. And now today's video, the deck profile I'm making one for is a Stoicheia's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, D-BT04. And first I'm going to be using this Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, D-BT03 deck as the base of the deck I'm going to build. Alright, let's get started. Going to edit deck, entering edit deck. And here we are. And like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building today's deck profile video is a Stoicheia's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT04. So first, let's go to Filter Settings, Pack, Show Only Cards available from D-BT01, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT02, A Brush of the Legends, D-BT03, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT04, Awakening of Chakrabarti, Festival Collection 2021, and Promo Pack number 1, Apply Filter. Alright, so first let's start with the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3 deck we're playing, Right deck, Grade 3, Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, Skill, Auto as a Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, cost, Counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, perform all of the following according to the number of attacks you made this turn. 3 or more attacks, draw a card. 4 or more attacks, choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards and retire them. 5 or more attacks, until end of battle, this unit gets plus 10,000 power, and when your opponent would call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle, they must call 3 or more at the same time. So for Flagburg Dragon, it's the main Grade 3 to run this deck. Its skill, just by attacking the opponent's Vanguard and paying a counterblast of 1, you can activate a number of effects equal to according to the number of attacks you made in that turn. If you make 3 or more attacks in that turn, you can draw a card. 4 or more attacks, retire 2 of your opponent's rear guards. 5 or more attacks, your Vanguard Flagburg gets plus 10,000 power, and if your opponent wishes to guard your Vanguard's attack with cards from their hand, they must guard 3 more cards. So for Flagburg, as long as you manage to meet the conditions of attacking at least 3 to 5 times in a single turn by the time you attack a Flagburg Dragon, you can not only restock your hand, wipe out your opponent's rear guards, but also increase your Flagburg Dragon's power and to pressure their defense to make them give up more cards to guard your Vanguard's attack. So for Flagburg Dragon, we got 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 3 Blue Artillery Dragon, Inlet Pulse Dragon, skills for skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit attack the Grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If it's the first battle of the turn, if your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, stand this unit. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of your turn, if the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, draw a card. So for Inlet Pulse Dragon, it's a support card for the Flagburg deck. It's for skill. At the end of battle, your Inlet Pulse Dragon attacked your opponent's Grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If it was the first battle of that turn, and if your Vanguard is Flagburg Dragon, by paying the cost of Soul Blast 1, you can restand your Inlet Pulse Dragon. So for this first skill, it's not only a good way to increase the number of attacks you make in a single turn with your Inlet Pulse skill, but by making more attacks on that turn, you'll be able to make it easier to activate Flagburg Dragon's skill and to also pressure your opponent with the multiple attacks from Inlet Pulse Dragon. And the second skill, at the end of the turn, if you make 4 or more attacks in that turn, as long as you don't mind giving up Inlet Pulse Dragon from your rear guard to your soul, you can draw a card. So for the second skill, it's not only a good way to restock your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also increase your hand size for your upcoming defense against your opponent or for your next turn when it's time to go for the offense. So for Inlet Pulse Dragon, we're putting 3 in the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2 deck, we're playing Right deck, Grade 2, Ascent Assault, skills for skill, auto. You may pay to reveal a Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, or Inroad Shooter from your hand for this cost. When this unit is written upon, cost, Soul Blast 1 other card than this card. And if the cost is paid, call this card to rear guard circle. Second skill, auto as a rear guard must return when your other rear guards attack a Vanguard. If your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, stand this unit. So for Ascendance Assault, it's the main Grade 2 to run this deck. The first skill, when you ride up on top of this card, if you can reveal either a Flagburg Dragon or Inroad Shooter from your hand, you can you cannot have to pay the usual Soul Blast 1 cost to superior call Ascended Assault from your soul to the rear guard. And if you do not have the required cost in your hand to reveal, you can just pay the usual Soul Blast 1 cost to call Ascended Assault from your soul to rear guard. So for this first skill, it's a good way to secure yourself an Ascended Assault to attack with in the front row once you use its skill to call to rear guard. Any second skill, when another rear guard in your field attacks your opponent's Vanguard and your Vanguard is Flagburg Dragon, by paying the cost of Counter Blast 1, you can restand your rear guard Ascended Assault. So for the second skill, it's not only a good way to pressure your opponent with multiple attacks from Ascended Assault, but it's also a good way to increase the number of attacks you make on that turn to make it easier to activate Flagburg Dragon's skill later on. And so for Ascended Assault, we got 4 on the deck, 1 on the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 2 Silverhorn Beast Aglio. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. The Grade 2 Aggressive Blue Dragon, skill auto as a rear guard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attack the rear guard. If your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, stand this unit. Silver Aggressive Blue Dragon is another support card for the Flagburg deck. Its skill, at the end of the battle, it attacks the opponent's rear guard. If your Vanguard's Flagburg Dragon, you can pay a cost of Soul Blast 1 to restand Aggressive Blue Dragon your rear guard. So for the skill, Aggressive Blue Dragon can make it easier to activate Flagburg Dragon's skill thanks to its skill of restanding and attacking multiple times. And not only that, you can also pressure your opponent by attacking the rear guard first and attacking the Vanguard later with its second attack, making it easier to not only wipe out your opponent's rear guards, but also pressure them with more damage as long as you got the necessary cards and power to pressure your opponent with to take advantage of Aggressive Blue Dragon's skill. So for Aggressive Blue Dragon, we got 4 on the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 2 Blooming Petal, Caryophyllus. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out and putting in the Grade 2. The Grade 2 Heavy Strike Brave Shooter, skill auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks, if your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Brave Shooter, it's a support card for the Flagburg deck. Its skill, when attacking while your Vanguard's Flagburg Dragon, Brave Shooter can serve as a potential 15,000 point attacker from your front row. So for Brave Shooter, we're putting 2 in the deck, okay? And next up, the Great 1 lineup. For the Great Ones in this deck, we're playing the right deck, Great 1, Inroad Shooter, skill for skill auto. When this unit is ridden upon by Ascended Assault, call this card to rear guard circle. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, or Ascended Assault, this unit gets intercept and plus 2,000 power. So for Inroad Shooter, it's the main Great 1 to run this deck. Its first skill, just by riding Ascended Assault on top of it, you'll be able to superior call Inroad Shooter from your soul to rear guard, securing yourself a Inroad Shooter to potentially attack or boost with later in the battle phase. Any second skill, if your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, or Ascended Assault, your rear guard Inroad Shooter gets intercept and plus 2,000 power. So for the second skill, it can help turn your Inroad Shooter into a potential 10,000 point attacker for the front row, 10,000 point booster from the back row, or a 5,000 point intercept from the front row. So for Inroad Shooter, we got 1 the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Great 1, Planet Prevent Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard, skills for skill, continuous Sentinel, second skill, auto. When this unit is put in your Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. So for Planet Prevent Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discard a card from hand, you can block one enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all these standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Planet Prevent Dragon a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. So for Planet Prevent Dragon, we got 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Great 1, Spiritual Body Condensation. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. And next up, the Great 1, Conspiring Mutant at Mantis, skill auto. When this unit is placed on rear guard circle, choose one of your other rear guards. It gets plus 5,000 power at the end of turn. So for Mantis is a pretty decent card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. Its skill, just by calling it to the rear guard, you can give another rear guard your plus 5,000 power. So this skill is a good way to make it easier to make your front row attackers more likely to hit your opponent, or to give your back row boosters more power to support the front row with. Super Mantis, we got 4 on the deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Great One, High Rate Burst Dragon, skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, choose one of your other rear guards, and until the end of turn, that unit gets a skill. That skill is auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks, if it is the first battle of the turn, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, stand this unit. Silver High Rate Burst Dragon, it's another support card for the Flagburg deck. Its skill, when called to the rear guard while your Vanguard is Flagburg, you can give one of your other rear guards on your field a skill. That skill is when it's the first attack of that turn. By paying the cost of Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, you can restand it. So with the skill, High Rate Burst Dragon can give your other rear guard the ability to restand after attacking, thus making it easier to not only pressure your opponent with the multiple attacks, but to increase the number of attacks to make on that turn to make it easier to activate Flagburg Dragon's skill later on. So for High Rate Burst Dragon, we got 3 in the deck, adding 1, playing 4. Next up, the Great One, Prize Trident, skill, auto as a rear guard. When your other unit attacks, if it's the 5th battle of the turn, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, countercharge 1. So Prize Trident is a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks, especially for Flagburg Dragon. Its skill, at the end of the attack of one of your other units, if that's the 5th battle of that turn, as long as you don't mind moving Prize Trident from your rear guard to your soul, you can countercharge 1. So for Prize Trident's skill, it's a good way to not only restock your soul for later soul blast, but to also refund your counter blast for later skills. Silver Prize Trident, we got 2 in the deck, adding 1, playing 3. And now for the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0 deck we're playing, right deck, Grade 0, Officer Cadet, Characles, skill, auto. When this unit is ready to pawn, if you went second, draw a card. Silver Characles, it's the starting unit of this deck. It's skill, but when you ride on top of it, if you're the second to go in the game, you get to draw a card. So for Officer Cadet Characles, we got 1 in the right deck, leaving it that way. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we're playing the Grade 0, Abyss Temptation, critical trigger. We're playing 4 in the deck, taking out 1, playing 3. And next up, the Grade 0, Aspiring Maiden, Alana, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Alana, it's a powerful critical trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. Its skill, after boosting an attack, regardless if it hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Alana from your rear guard to your soul, you can give one of the other units in your field, Vanguard or rear guard, plus 2,000 power. So for Alana, she's a good way to not only restock her soul for later soul blast, but to also give one of the remaining attackers on the field a little extra power to work with. So for Aspiring Maiden Alana, we got 4 on the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 0, Lost Child of Attachment, draw trigger. Not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. And in its place, we're putting in the Grade 0, Serene Maiden, Lena, draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Lena, it's a powerful draw trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. Its skill, when used to guard with while your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So if Lena, her skill, as long as you use her to guard against your opponent's Grade 3, guard against your opponent while their Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, you can give 5,000 power to Lena, making her a potential 10,000 point shield all on her own. So for Lena, you're putting 4 in the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 0, Elegy Pixie, heal trigger. We got 4 in the deck, leaving that way. And last but not least, you got the Grade 0, Source Dragon, Deity of Blessings, Bless Favor, Over Trigger, Skill, Trigger, Additional Effect, draw a card, choose one of your units, it gets plus 1 critical until end of turn. All of your front row units gets plus 10,000 power. If your damage zone is the same number of cards as your opponents or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So for Bless Favor, it's the over trigger for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drag check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features a skill unique to it alone. When revealed during a drag check on your turn, you can draw a card, give 1 unit in your field plus 1 critical, your front row gets plus 10,000 power, and if you have equal or more damage than your opponent, you can heal 1 damage. Super Bless Favor, it's like all of the D standard format triggers put into a single card. A draw trigger, a critical trigger, a front trigger, and heal trigger all in one. Super Bless Favor, we got 1 in the deck, leaving it that way. Alright, the deck's been built. Cardfight explains, let's just save the deck. Overdress deck being built. Yes.
どの
Okay,
デッキ
here
を
we
見る
are. And for the cards in this deck, we're playing 4, Grade 3, Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon. 3, Grade 3, Blue Artillery Dragon, Inlet Pulse Dragon. 4, Grade 2, Aggress Blue Dragon. 4, Grade 2, Ascends Assault. 2, Grade 2, Heavy Strike Brave Shooter. 4, Grade 1, Planet Prevent Dragon. 4, Grade 1, Conspiring Mutant at Mantis. 4, Grade 1, High Rate Burst Dragon. 1, Grade 1, Inroad Shooter. 3, Grade 1, Prize Trident. And 1, Grade 0, Officer Cadet, Heracles, starting unit. And for the triggers of the deck, we're playing 7 critical triggers, 4 draw triggers, 4 heal triggers, and 1 over trigger plus favor. Alright, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck. So leaving the edit deck menu, returning to main menu,
どのモードで遊ぶ
going to fight menu,
どのファイトにす
CPU
る
fight,
どのデッキにす
selecting
る
the deck I just built, the Flagburg D-BT04 deck. Alright, selecting
どのデ
deck,
ッキにする
and now
ど
choosing the
のファイター
opponent.
にする
Alright, who would be a good choice to test this out on? I guess I'll test it out on Kuro Minato, normal difficulty. Alright, the battle begins. Let's get started. Now we're gonna decide who goes first. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock to rock one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper to rock, I win, going first. Okay. Drawing our starting hands. I got a Aggress Blue, a Perfect Guard, a Flagburg Dragon, a draw trigger, and a critical trigger. Okay. Definitely should hold on to the Perfect Guard and the Grade 3 to Persona right with, and the Grade 2 to attack with, so I'll just return my 2 triggers to redraw. Nice! A Grade 1 and Grade 2! Alright, it's my move, I draw. I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Inroad Shooter. And for, let's see, I guess I should hold on to the Perfect Guard and Persona Ride, and the normal units to attack and boost with later, so I'll just ditch the heal trigger in my hand to ride from the right deck, Inroad Shooter, and that's all for me, end of turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. He's gonna ride the Grade 1, Tier Square Sorceress, skill of his starter, he draws a card. He calls a rear guard, okay. Vanguard to Vanguard. No guard, take the hit.
ノーガード
Alright, he drive checks. No trigger, safe. And here comes the damage. Ow!
ダメージ
Damage check. Yes! Critical trigger! All affects the Vanguard. And now the remaining rear guard cannot attack.
パワープラス
That's the end of my opponent's turn. It's my turn. I draw. I got a draw trigger, okay. I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Ascends Assault. And for the right deck cost, let's see. I'll call the 2 Grade 2s to the front row and the Grade 1 to boost to the back row. Gotta hold on to the Perfect Guard and Persona Ride, so I'll just ditch the draw trigger in my hand to ride from the right deck, Ascends Assault, Inroad Shooter skill,
スキル発動
Superior Call from the Soul to the rear guard. I call it to the rear guard here.
スペリオルコール
Get 2,000 power. And next up, I'm gonna call Heavy Strike Brave Shooter and Prize Trident to the rear guard. I'll save Aggress Blue when it's time to ride to Grade 3, so let's go to the battle phase. First up, my rear guard Inroad Shooter attacks the rear guard
リアガード
Tatris.
にアタック
The attack goes through, and one rear guard down. And now my Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 10,000 power. The attack goes through. I drive check. Yes! Draw trigger, just what I needed. I draw a card. Yes, a grade 3 Inlet Pulse Dragon. Not bad. Then I'll give the power to my rear guard, Heavy Strike Brave Shooter.
パワープラス
Power added. And 1 damage to my opponent. Boom.
ダメージチェック
Damage check. No trigger. Safe. Alright. Boosted by Prize Trident. Heavy Strike attacks the Vanguard. 28k.
ノ
The
ーカ
attack goes through. And bang. 1 damage. Damage check.
クリティカル
Yes! Critical trigger. He wasted a trigger.
クリティカルプラス
Trigger effects wasted. And that's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent writes a grade 2, Pentacling Sorceress. Tier square skill, he draws a card. Now he's calling the grade 2, Kakeron. Skill to look at the top cards of the deck, leaving on top. Calling a Esunono and a Tartine, okay. Alright, there's a chance that the top card is a trigger since he uses skill to look at the top, so I should let the Vanguard and the Kakeron go through. I'll just block the first attack. I'm gonna... Let's see... Should I guard or intercept? I guess I'll intercept with Inroad Shooter. 5,000 shield. Attack blocked. Okay, safe. And now here comes attack from the Vanguard. No guard, take the hit.
ノーガード
And drive check. Ah, heal trigger. He heals 1 damage, heals power to rear guard. And the damage is here it comes. Ow!
ダメー
Damage
ジチェッ
check.
ク
Yes! Critical trigger! I give all effects to my Vanguard.
クリティカルプラスパワー
Top
プ
trigger
ラ
effects added. I'm at 20,000.
ヴァンガードにアタック
But I don't have enough to... I don't have enough to guard. Guess I have no choice. Let the attack go through.
スノーガー
No
ド
guard. Here comes the damage. Ow!
ダメージチェッ
Damage
ク
check. Yeah, draw trigger, just what I needed. I drew a critical, not good. I'll give the power to my
パワ
Vanguard.
ープラス
Alright,
ターンエン
that's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn, stand and draw. I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon. For the right deck cost, let's see. I guess I'll hold... I gotta hold on to the Perfect Guard and the Persona Ride and the Inlet Pulse and Aggress Blue to attack my opponent with, so my choices are to discard one of the 2 triggers or Prize Trident. Okay, my opponent has 5 cards in hand, 1 card in damage zone. I got 3, so I could use the extra power, so I guess I'll just... I can also use Ascend's Assault skill and Superior Call from the soul to the rear guard. Then I guess for the cost, I'll discard a draw trigger.
さあ
Right from the right deck, Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon. Skill of Ascend's Assault. I'm going to Soul Blast what's in my hand. I'm going to reveal from my hand Flagburg Dragon.
スキル
To
発動
Superior Call, Ascend's Assault from the soul to the rear guard. Call Ascend's Assault.
スペリオルコール
And next I call to the rear guard, Prize Trident.
コール
That should be enough, okay? Then go into battle phase. First up, my Ascendance Assault. Let's see. Yep, Ascendance Assault unboosted attacks the Vanguard, Pentacling Sorceress,
ヴァンガードにアタッ
10,000
ク
power. He intercepts with Esunono, 15,000. The attack is blocked. Alright, now boosted by Prize Trident. Brave Shooter attacks the
ヴァンガード
Vanguard.
にアタック
Skill plus 5,000 power.
スキル発動
Another total 23,000 power.
パワープラス
Next, I activate my Ascendance Assault skill. Use its skill to counter blast 1 and restand it. So I'm going to counter blast 1,
スキル発動
restand my Ascendance Assault. He guards with a heal trigger. Okay.
ガード
And now boosted by Prize Trident, my Ascendant Assault attacks the Vanguard, 18,000. He guards with a critical, 25. The attack is blocked. Alright, now my Flagburg attacks the Vanguard.
ヴァンガードにアタック
Skill, Counter Blast 1. I attacked at least 3 to 4 times this turn so I can draw a card and retire 2 opponents' rear guards. I drew a
ノーガード
grade 3, not bad. Twin Drive, first check. Brave Shooter, no trigger. Second check. Aggress Blue Dragon, no trigger. So, okay.
私のヴァンガー
1 damage to my opponent. Bang, 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 shoot, and boom. 1 damage. No trigger. And that's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn.
ドターンエンド
スタンド&ドローこれで終わり
Here comes his grade 3 Hex Orb Sorceress. Tentacling skill to rearrange the top 3 cards of his deck. He calls Fasado, okay. The Vanguard. He used his grade 2 Pentacling skill to stack a card on top. I better not risk it, so I'm going to Perfect Guard with Planet Vet Dragon. For the cost, let's see.
スキル発動
I'm gonna ditch. I guess I'll. Okay, this is a tough choice. I guess I'll ditch the extra Brave Shooter in my hand for the
完
cost.
全ガード
Perfect Guard.
ドライブチェ
My
ック
opponent Twin Drives, first check, no trigger.
ドライ
And
ブチェ
second
ッ
check, no trigger, safe. The attack is blocked.
クヴァンガードにアタック
Vanguard the Vanguard. I'm going to. I better not let this attack go through, so I'm going to intercept with Brave Shooter, making space to call the grade 3 later. So intercept, guard, 18k, attack is blocked. Alright, end of my opponent's turn. My turn, stand and draw. Another grade 3, okay. I'm going to Persona Ride, Flagburg Dragon.
ペルソナライド
Right, power added, draw a card. I drew a high rate burst dragon, not bad. Next up, I'm going to call to the rear guard. Let's see. Okay, then I'm going to call to the rear guard. Okay, I'm going to call Inlet Pulse Dragon to the rear guard. And should I activate its skill? Should I call another one? No. My opponent is 2 damage. Probably won't be able to finish him off this turn, so I'll just secure my field as it is. So, yep, that should be enough. So going to battle phase. First up, Inlet Pulse Dragon attacks the Vanguard. Unboosted. Attacking
ヴァ
Hexa
ン
Orb.
ガードにアタック
23k. Not yet. Not gonna activate my Ascent skill. He goes for a front trigger. Attack blocked. Alright. And now my skill of my dragon. I can Soul Blast 1 to restand it. So I'm gonna Soul Blast my Heracles to restand in that pulse. And now, boosted by Prize Trident, my Ascend's Assault attacks the Vanguard,
ヴァンガードに
28k.
アタック
And
No guard.
the Instant Guard, okay. Bang, 1 damage.
ダメージ
Damage check. No trigger, safe, okay. And now boosted by Prize Trident, Inlet Pulse attacks the Vanguard, 31k. Not gonna activate my Ascend's Assault skill.
ノーガードだ
The attack goes through. Bang, bang, bang.
Damage.
1 damage. No trigger, safe. And now my Flagburg attacks the
ヴァ
Vanguard.
ンガードにアタック
Skill activated. Counter Blast
ここ
1.
からが本当の戦いスキル発動
I'm going to draw a card and retire. And nope, only draw 1 card.
スキルを発動完全ガードだ
Okay.
ドライブチェッ
Twin
ク
Drive, first check. No trigger. And second check.
ドライブチェック
Yes, draw trigger. No effect, no power to give, so just draw a card. I drew another Ascent Assault, okay? I
パワー
just
プラ
waste
ス
all the trigger effects. Okay. Attack blocked. So that's the end of my turn, my opponent's turn.
ターンエンド
My inlet skill. Move it to the soul.
スキル発動
and draw a card. I drew another high rate burst dragon, okay? My opponent calls 2 rear guards, Castillos and Tartine, okay? Vanguard to Vanguard. Okay. 13k, okay. Then I'm going to guard with a heal trigger, 28k. Yep, guarding 28k to the pass.
ドライブチェック
Twin drive, first check. Hex orb, you can persona right next turn, not good. Second check. Heal trigger, come on! He heals and gives power to the rear guard, okay.
スキル発動
Skill of Hexa orb, adding more power to Pasado.
スキルを発動
Skill of Castillos, another 5,000 power, okay. Zap, damage blocked. And now rear guard attacks the Vanguard, 25k. Let it go through, no guard.
ノーガード
Ow!
ダメー
Damage
ジチェッ
check.
クヒール
Yes!
トリガー
Heal trigger, just what I needed. I give power to I heal 1 damage and power to my Vanguard. Yep, power to Vanguard.
パワープラス
There we go. Now Pasado attacks the Vanguard. I intercept with Ascend's Assault. 28k, attack blocked.
インターセプト
And save. End of my opponent's turn. My turn. I draw. I drew another high rate. Okay. I go to main phase. Next, I call Inlet Pulse Dragon to the rear guard
コール
and Aggress Blue Dragon to the rear guard and Conspiring Mutant at Mantis to the rear guard.
コール
At Mantis skill plus 5,000 power to 1 rear guard. I give it to my. I'll give it to Aggress Blue Dragon plus 5,000 power. Alright, that should be enough. Go into battle phase. First up, my Inlet Pulse Dragon unboosted attacks the Vanguard,
ヴァンガードに
13k.
アタック
ノーガー
He doesn't guard. And bang, 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, safe. Alright. Now Aggress Blue with Inlet Pulse's skill. I Soul Blast 1 and restand
ヒール
my
発動
Inlet Pulse. Now Aggress Blue attacks unboosted, attacks the rear guard.
リア
Pastillos,
ガードにアタック
15k.
ノーガード
Alright, no guard. Slash. 1 rear guard down. Aggress Blue skill. I Soul Blast 1 and restand my Aggress Blue. There we go. And now, boosted by Price Trident, Inlet Pulse attacks the Vanguard, 21k. He guards with a heal trigger. Okay, 28k. The attack is blocked. Alright, next up, boosted by Price Trident, Aggress Blue attacks the Vanguard, 23k.
ノ
He
ーガー
doesn't guard. And slash, 1 damage.
ド
Damage check. No trigger, perfect guard. Nice. Now boosted by Atlantis, my Vanguard Flagburg attacks the
ヴァンガー
Vanguard.
ドにアタック
Skill activated. I'm going to counter blast 1 and activate Flagburg Dragon's
ありそう
effect.
ねスキル発動
With 5 or more attacks this turn, I draw a card, retire
パワ
a
ープ
rear
ラス
guard, add power, and my opponents must guard 3 more cards in 1 turn. Next, I activate Prize Trident skill, move it to the soul, and countercharge 1. And 1 more time, into the soul, countercharge 1. The card I drew is a perfect guard, nice. Alright, 31k. The attack goes through, twin drive, first check, no trigger. And
ドライ
second
ブチェ
check,
ック
no trigger, perfect guard, nice. And now here comes
こ
the
の思い
final attack.
願いをすべてこのカードに込める
Flagburg attacks, bang bang bang, shoot, boom, and 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, alright, 6 damage, I win.
私の勝ちね
Huh, not too bad. The deck worked out pretty well for me. I got to try out some of the new cards I put in and still activate my unit skills. So I got win, attack 5 or more times in 1 turn, perfect guarded, did a persona right, 8 turns passed, did a superior call, retired 5 or more opposing units, 1 with 10 or more cards in hand, and drew 3 or more times in 1 turn. I got 2200 BP, total 11,125 BP. Press A to go next. Alright, leaving the fight, return to fight menu.
どのファイターにする
Leaving the fight
どの
menu,
デッキにす
return to
る
main
どの
menu.
ファイトにするどのモード
Going
で
to
遊
edit
ぶ
deck menu.
どのデッキ
And
を
with
見る
that, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained, and I just finished testing out the deck in front of you. And so, with that, that's all the time we have for today. So first off, I want to say thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also be all sure support by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye and see you all soon.